Good morning.
Good
Morning.
morning, Matthew. I love you
Morning,
so much.
Isabel and Corey.
Yeah, good morning. So we have
Uh,
Matthew Wood here with us today and Isabel. You do a
He's
little symptom.
master herbalist, and he connects not only with, the regular herbalism that many people practice, because I grew up in the shaman world in Peru and the Amazon, where, uh, the earth and the earth is everything for us. Everything.
Mhm.
I didn't see, anything doctor wise or medical wise because it wasn't. And I just connected with the spirit. That was the thing. Connecting with the spirit of the plants, the orchid, everything that it was growing around me. And they grow, right, Matthew, in the places that they're most needed.
Well,
And
yeah, some years you have a lot of something, and that indicates that it's going to be needed. Like the first year of COVID, there was a lot of elder. There's been a lot of elder ever since. Well, in the last 20 years, there's been a lot of elder. So there's so many viruses going around. Yeah, they'll just magnify in the years when they're needed.
yeah, can you explain a little more that your background and you have a full family background when it
Oh,
comes to this?
yeah, actually, there's my ancestors on the wall there. My father's family. I was raised a Quaker, and they go way back. That's a Quaker wedding certificate. Two of them there. One of them from 1840 something, the other one from 1886. And that old guy there up next to up there, he was born in 1763. So he was 13 when the revolution broke out. He lived on Long Island, so they were in the thick of it. Their cattle were kidnapped by the British and stuff. And so he's that's in 18. Yeah, what?
I'm British. Sorry about
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah. And oh well, the Quakers were actually neutral with regard to the Brits or the Americans, although quite a few of them were, and they didn't believe in war, so, but a number of them did behind the scenes work for the Americans. I don't know
Yeah.
any that I had relatives that were Tories that were terrible, actually, that were terrorists, I would call them. So, yeah, some people
And
went different ways.
yeah, you
So,
do private sessions and also you teach all over the world.
yeah, okay, so yeah, I was raised a Quaker, and when I was 0 weeks old, my parents moved. When I was 2 weeks old, my parents moved to this big Cypress Seminole Indian Reservation in Florida, which is kind of like South America, where you grew up in the jungles, a big cypress swamp. The alligators nowadays, there's pythons down there too that kill the alligators, and so they still spoke English was a second language, and they still spoke Seminole or Miccosukee, and that means they didn't use the syllogism, logic, all that kind of stuff. They spoke by, they either described it, the Greeks called this type of language phasis, where you just describe exactly what you see, or you make analogies and similarities or contrasts in order to get your point across or tell stories. So that's the way the old Indian elders still do it today, is they
Mm.
tell a story. You ask a question and they don't give you a direct answer. They tell you something similar or different. And so I grew up thinking that way, and it was very hard for me to speak in English until about age 20, I realized that astrology was a language of energy patterns, energy types, and I dropped out of college and did nothing but study astrology 3 hours a day, every day for a year. And after a year, I could talk to other astrologers, and I realized, oh, well, this is great, but I need to learn how to talk to regular people. So then I translated all those thoughts, and Saturn, Mars, Venus, whatever, into English so that I could speak to normal people. And after a year, I could speak to normal people, and then I became very um, verbal, fluid with words because I had a language finally. So all this was stripped out of English about 1650 or so, pretty intentionally. They made it into a spiritless language. As one of my Indian friends said, it's like it's a good language for barter and trade, but not for and evaluating things, but not for any kind of spiritual speech, because spirit means like alcohol or the spirit, like what's that, or spiritual. Spiritual is very poorly defined. So, yeah, so that's kind of my background, what matters. And then I became an herbalist. At 13, I knew that was my trade, and I studied botany. And by 29, I got a job in the herb store. I didn't know how to go about this, so I started working in an herb store. And then from there, so that was fate or destiny. And my employer, Bob, I have to thank him for giving me a job 1 day a week working in the herb store. That's how I started. It's not so easy an occupation to follow, especially in those days.
Yeah.
Yeah, first 15 years of my profession, every single morning when I woke up, I was afraid I was going to be arrested by the FDA or someone. Actually, it would have been the Minnesota Medical Board, but never happened. So after a while, then I thought, oh, who cares? And then a friend of mine said, yeah, well, if that happens to me, I'll just move to a different state. Because medicine is state regulated here.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the combination that you have done from the astrology, from the beginning of the
Yeah.
herbology, like, from Greece, from
Yeah.
Rome, from all of it, that's just so fascinating.
Oh, yeah.
It's so important to keep the roots of where it started. Everything has expanded so much and has gone in so many directions that I learn with natives. I learn, and it's funny that you said, they speak in an indirect way because my adopted
Yeah.
grandfather
Right.
was Black Elk.
Oh,
And yeah, and Black Elk, always hypnotize you.
oh,
It
really?
puts you on a trance with the stories. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
they're storytellers.
Yep. Right.
But that's my beauty with you, that you combine all these different things to make your potion of, that Merlin inside the alchemist that you are.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
Yeah, well, so for me, the start of all this, like of my mysticism, so I was about 10 or 11, and we were going to the Northern Half Yearly meeting of Quakers in Wausau, Wisconsin. And we had Sunday school up on the big mountain there. And it was in fall, about this time of the year, September, October. It was a beautiful sunny day, pretty good temperature. And our Sunday school, our first day school, we went up in the mountain, and our teacher was Francis Hole, who was a soil science professor from the University of Wisconsin at Madison. And he knew how to speak in Fossick terms. I have quotes from him that show clearly that he understood, and he studied speech. He didn't like English because it's like he was a soil science professor, and soil means dirty or dirt. And and he don't like the word dirt either, which means dirty. So he kind of he was fed up with English. Well, we were up there on the mountain there in our class, and he was jumping from rock to rock, and just this feeling came out of him. Nature is alive, nature is alive. And I knew it was true, and I knew I had to believe it, or I would never know spiritual truth again. So, and I knew that like Mother Nature was alive, the all soul, I would say now, the all life. And I could kind of feel her presence. And later I really have felt her as an actual being, like one planet among many, I suppose you'd say. But she has a personality, all that kind of stuff. But at that time it's just nature's alive, nature's alive. And I knew I had to believe it. And from that, I learned a lot of things. I understood right away that if you hurt somebody, it would come back to you because we are all related. We're all related in that world, in that soul realm. And this is really my first empathic or uh, experience like that. When I was about 30, 31, I was able to visit Francis and thank him for that experience. And he said, "Oh yes, that was a beautiful day. It really was. It's like he remembered it exactly." And I thanked him, and he didn't actually take credit. He just said, "Oh, you have chosen well." And I said how did herbalism because of that. Nature is alive, and he said, "You have chosen well. People crave to have that experience, and they don't know how to uh, get there. So you will always be in demand." And I was like, "What the heck?" Like. Who but a Quaker elder would tell the young person that they'd chosen well to be an herbalist?
Nice,
And
nice.
he,
Yep.
at the time he died, I looked on his, I don't know, 15 years ago, 10 years ago, um, there was various things and stories by him, and one was that, so he grew up, he went to George School in Pennsylvania near Philadelphia, and he says, yes, in their Sunday meeting, which was silent meeting, the headmaster, William Worcester Comfort, was famous. He never spoke, but he emanated the verities of education. And so this is like Francis learned this kind of empathic world when he was young. So just a sec. No, no, don't feed the dogs. No. Yeah, Andy doesn't want you to feed him. She will feed him only. Excuse me, my mom.
It's all good. Mama's love,
Very welcome.
And can
Yeah.
you speak a little bit too of the turtle? The turtle.
Yeah, so first is nature is alive, um and then the wisdom of nature, that there's laws or principles that just kind of naturally came to me. I know by age 15 I was reading Paracelsus, and you really get it through there, through astrology, through Paracelsus, through herbalism, the doctrine of signatures. The plant looks like what it's for, or
Mhm.
when it's very deep, um, when it's very when there's the spirit signatures, it said, is when the plant looks like an animal or is used by an animal, then that's even more powerful. So, like a brown, furry, oily root, that would be like a bear medicine, or a square stem, sharp edges on the stem would be like a deer medicine, or let's see, a turtle medicine. Yes. So sometimes they tell you, like, helped a friend of mine, uh, Susan, and she held Unipi Sweat Lodge pipe ceremony afterwards for all the people that helped her. So I was there, and I thanked Gravel Root, which really had saved her life. And the Gravel Root said, you can tell I'm a turtle medicine, because just as Grandfather Turtle rose out of the sea in the beginning of time to create the first earth, so too do I rise out of the swamp to create the first soil. So it's like little crystals kind of form on the roots of the plant, crystallize. So it's creating soil there, even though, in the peatland, there isn't really no soil. Or it grows right at the edge of, especially in England, or because it's naturalized, it'll grow right at the edge of the water and the land. It's because that's where it started in North America. It grew that way, and the glaciers came down, they deposited lakes. And so my friend Paul Reddock, he told me, he said, "Oh yeah, I consider that a, a turtle medicine." And I asked, "Oh, how come?" And he said, "Well, the glacier lakes, they were higher up, and they had sandy beaches and gravelly beaches, and the turtles would lay their eggs there. And then that sank down lower, and now, but the turtles still go up to where their great 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 grandmothers laid the eggs up there, along there. So that's where you see gravel root there, and you see it at the edge, or if there's a marsh, in the marsh there. So, and I was really, it was fascinated me to see it in Britain and France. Very few, it's not really obnoxious, but it would be at that right at the edge there. So it's a cousin of your plant called hemp agrimony, which isn't really a one that they use much in herbalism. But we use it for bones, it's for calcium stuff. It's for calcification, like heart muscle, like or in the muscles, and achiness, and rheumatism would be the old-fashioned name for it, as well as for joints, um, osteoporosis and osteoarthritis, not rheumatoid arthritis. But the heart gets calcified, the heart muscle creeps up from the calcification, shows up on x-rays, creeps up from the apex, and gravel root will get rid of that. It will get that calcification. See, I'm like 71. I don't have, well, let's see, they are a little bit sore today. I have some rheumatoid arthritis that I stopped years ago. You can see it right in there. And then one finger has got, the one finger that didn't get rheumatoid arthritis got
How did you
Osteoarthritis.
stop it, Matthew? How
What's
did you
that?
how did you stop it? Because I think inflammation, I myself suffer with
Oh,
rheumatoid arthritis, but I think
yes.
inflammation itself is so big in the population,
Yes.
right? Inflammation is a big one,
Yeah, let's get to, yeah. So, inflammation is the mother of all disease,
right? Exactly.
and chronic and acute. And there is a bunch of holistic MDs, at least in the United States, you can look them up. The Baldonine, Bale, no space, Doneen. So two doctors' names. And they work on this perspective that everything is due to chronic inflammation. It's the mother of all disease and through the arteries, etc. Okay, well, for arthritis, I'm quite good with that. And um, yeah, very simple there. So this popped up. I got bit by a Lyme tick up here, and 6 months later, this popped out. This is the type of rheumatoid arthritis that pops out full developed.
On my
Yeah.
nipples.
Oh yeah. Yes. Right. Pops out after in one night even, and then by the third night, I felt a line go up right next to that, almost all the way. So I knew, oh, the Lyme tick had changed my immune system. But that doesn't matter. Different things could trigger it. And I struggled with it. I used teasel, which grows in your land there, and well, false salmon seal, that would be hard to get. But they were only held it at bay. But what really just stopped it was cucumber water. So you take a cucumber, um, but
Yeah.
and you slice it in half, scoop out the seeds. Not everybody's sensitive to the seeds, but that's how I was taught to do. Some people are. Oh, nip off the two ends, slice it down the middle, take out the seeds, then slice each piece into three. Then get a like quart jar. I know you guys got like a liter
Yeah.
jar or something.
Like mason jar. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I'm actually in the States.
Oh, okay. All right. Hopefully some of your listeners will be confused. Yes, a quart jar. And fill it with good water, put the cucumber in there and just let it set. After 3 hours, you drink it. It'll taste really beautiful. It really has a beautiful
Yeah.
flavor. It's very cooling, and I wouldn't recommend doing this in the harshest, coldest winter. It's like herbal air conditioning, and that's like kind of that makes it a bit much for cold weather, and you can't preserve it in alcohol because alcohol is warming. So really, it's kind of a summer drink, but the season's not over. I think for the next 2 months, you can still drink it. So I was drinking that just what for something else. I can't remember. And I was like, holy cow! Like, wow, my fingers are so much better. And also, my hands were a little bit swollen, and that went away. And so it's an excellent, and I've used it on a few other people for rheumatoid arthritis in the hands, at least. I have never used it for other types of rheumatoid arthritis, but that's so common.
Yes. Yeah.
So I'd also add my mother, she had very bad rheumatoid arthritis, and it was stopped with dandelion root,
Mm.
which was given to her by a naturopath in the Twin Cities here. So there are a few options there, but the cucumber water is incredible. It's really anti-inflammatory. I hadn't thought of this. It's probably good for the rest of your body. Yeah, I'm going to is chat open here? I was just gonna, yeah, message that Baldonine. I mean, I've only heard interview, I've adopted some of their ideas, but I don't, um, I'm not a,
Yeah. Baldoni.
yeah. Um, okay, so,
Can I ask you a
so,
question, Matthew?
well, let me finish
Oh,
just
oh,
at
sorry.
the
Go ahead.
rheumatoid arthritis. So, rheumatoid arthritis, we'll write that down, cucumber water.
Yeah.
And then rheumatoid arthritis, that's for rheumatoid. And then osteoarthritis, I would use Solomon seal, which
Mm.
is in the US, in Europe, in the Himalayas, in China. It's pretty universal in the Northern Hemisphere. And it's probably grown in South Africa and Argentina and places and certainly in Australia as an ornamental. So, okay. All right. Yes. So that covers two common types of arthritis. We got off the subject a little bit, but there. Yes. What you had a question?
Yeah.
Yes.
Corey, go on.
Oh, yes. You mentioned it earlier, and I wanted to, since, a lot of people that are connecting to us on the podcast, they're all different spiritual seekers in different ways. And you mentioned earlier
Yeah.
that you see spirituality differently. Can you explain what your version of spirituality is? Like, what is it to you?
Yeah.
What does it mean to you?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll get back to that. I like the question about the turtle too. We talked about the turtle medicine and not about the turtle and mythology. But so spirituality, yeah. So very definitely throughout the world, there's really an idea of three selves. So we'd say body, soul, spirit, we say in the West. I know in Hebrew it's the same way. Like so the first shamanic teachings that were published were really Max Freedom Long, the Kahuna or Huna teachings, and he has high self, middle self, lower self. I wouldn't use the term lower self because the lower self is the animal self and it feels judged like, oh,
Yeah.
golly, I'm lower. And it's like a dog bad, you know? And so the animal self or body self is because yeah, the body seems like, oh, it must just be physical, but actually there's a consciousness there. That's the animal self. Because the animal rules up to about here, and then there's a chakra or there's a nadi, there's a meridian there that where the turtle called the way of the turtle in Patanjali in the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. The way of the turtle, that's what the Indians in this country call it too, some of them. And then above that's the human. So the turtle is also like the foundation of our world, of the human world, of the warm-blooded animal world, actually, not just the humans. And because it's the evolutionary main stem, the turtle can control its body temperature a little bit by winching out water and warming up or jumping in the pond and cooling off. And then it became the ancestor of the warm-blooded animals. So, and you look at a turtle and a possum and you see how similar they are, or anteater or whatnot. Their way of defense is to play dead, like
Yeah.
which I suppose worked when there was dinosaurs and stuff, but but at any rate, back to what I sidetracked onto the turtle there. I'll keep on referring to the
You were
turtle, but
telling us,
oh,
you were
three
telling us
types
about
of
the three selves.
yeah. So the animal self, that's your instincts,
Mhm.
and um, evolutionary biologists say that, well, and other people that out of our instincts develop our emotions. So our emotional self is very closely tied to that, but we could say that's our soul. I would say the conscious self or the ego is the middle self is what um, Max Freedom Long would have called the middle self, the uhani, the talking self. So, and in humans, that's conscious. And the animals, they talk, but like if you're in the spirit world, they're all silent. I mean, they don't move their mouth, so to speak, so much. You hear them though. Yes, mind to mind. Yeah. So, and then the high self, which in Hawaiian there, Amakua, actually means a bunch of high selves, a bunch of spirits. But it's the spirit world, but we all have a spirit, a molecule. We actually have it's the Atma, the primal atom of selfhood which exists on the spiritual level and is almost indestructible. You'd really have to break the laws of creation for it to be destroyed, but that could happen. But uh, it's related to our word atom, or it's related to the word atom in the Bible, or Adama, primal particle, which is in the story of Adam.
Mm.
And because Adam is actually a Hebrew word, Adama is a Sumerian word, and it means primal particle, and so it's like our atom, Atma in Sanskrit. So we have that, but then And then as the spirit communicates, like, so that's our essence, who we are, but it's also moral. I mean, it's beyond morality. It's just the laws of the universe, the laws of God. It doesn't disobey those. So when I heard that, nature is alive, nature is alive, I knew I had to believe, or I would never know spiritual truth again, because that was a truth. That was like God had set that up somehow, or the creator, or so that it was a, a spiritual fact. It wasn't just someone's opinion. Nature's alive. Oh, I could believe that or not.
Yeah.
But no, it was like reality on that level. And there's a lot of stuff that's reality on that level. Nobody knows it all. And um, but on that level, there is just kind of it's closer to being, to essence. It's your essence, just is the atom, the atma. You can evolve it, but you can't change it. Like you could change it, I suppose, over millennia or something in different lifetimes, but it's becoming manifest. You really want to manifest that. So most of our job in spiritual life is to A, become who we're supposed to be, and B, obey spiritual laws or morality. We have a picture of morality. So the middle self has like the Ten Commandments or whatever, or
Yeah.
logic, science. This makes sense. And the animal self has like animal instincts, like good person, bad person, safe, not safe, and so
Right.
and that's very valuable. The animal self, and then. Um, and it is constantly talking to us. That's what Freud called the id. So we have the id, the ego, and the superego. And he was they still don't want to acknowledge, they can acknowledge the soul since Freud's time, psyche, psychology, but they still don't want to acknowledge the spirit. And but he was very correct when he said the superego he defined as the rules we live by. It's like the projection that covers up God. It's like, oh, that's morality. That's what God says, the Bible, whatever, or whatever religion. Like I follow those, and that's usually pretty good, but it's still like made up by the middle self. It's it's not real. So it's a super ego, and you got to break through that ceiling, and
Right.
to connect with the true self or the true spirit or God or the gods or the angels or spirit beings, etc., or the spirit land, which, like, I would say, see, just to digress for a second. So the living nature, the all soul, the all life, that is our true homeland, but it's vouchsafed by the spirit. So the spirit touches on it. So when we're there, we're also in touch with the spirit world. So after death, or, if we have, I don't know, I don't want to say illumination or something, but because you're learning every lifetime, you could just go on and on. You couldn't know it all. But so the spirit and the soul levels are merged, but we're more on the soul level.
Mhm.
We're not angels. So,
Who says not? I thought I was.
yeah. Well, there are some people that are part angel. I admit
Oh
it.
yeah. You
And
can
there's,
see can you see my wings?
mm, mm,
So
See?
okay.
when you say you have to break through, the
Yeah.
the journey almost this lifetime is to know thyself, to
Yeah.
evolve, right? And you said
Yeah.
you have to break through that super ego, then that you have to break through that. How did you break through that, or how do we break through it?
Yeah. That's shamanism, to my opinion. Well, there's a couple different roads probably, but the
Mhm.
shamanic path is to actualize, become aware of your animal self. And the animals did not fall. I mean, it says this in the Bible in Genesis. That's like a readout of like cosmic events. Like, I don't know what the word for that is, but just pictures of what happened. And God says to the snake, to the dragon, actually, cursed are you above all other animals, for you have, blah, blah, blah. And but it's just a karmic readout.
Yeah.
And the dragons are in the earth. The snakes are their representative on the earth. All the reptiles are their representatives, and the turtle is the highest evolved of them.
Mm.
And but all cursed are you above all other animals, but the other animals aren't cursed, because they didn't do anything. They didn't do anything wrong. We did it, and the dragons did it. So the rabbis say it's not just how did the snake get up there? It must have had wings or feet. So it was a dragon, they say. And that's the ancestor of all the reptiles, and they actually aren't good or bad. And I had some experience of them, and I didn't like snakes. I thought snakes are de-evolutionary. And then the spirit told me, no, they're just an-evolutionary. They're not pro or con, they just are.
Yeah.
But they'll try to kill you, you know.
I
Yeah.
love them.
No bias. They're just trying to kill you.
Yeah.
I love them. Yeah. You
Okay.
think, Matthew, that we are going back to reconnect with the old ways and live more of the earth and more of the
Well,
beginnings to be
okay,
able to make it?
I got to finish with
Ah.
hopefully we are, but so the actualization of your animal self, when you dream of your animal self, like in lucid dreaming, then like the bear, the wolf, or the deer, or those would be some of the common ones. The rabbit. Usually they're wild animals.
Mm.
If they're domesticated or kind of fraidy cats like a rabbit, that's not real powerful. You're probably not going to be
That-
a shaman that does much. But
yeah.
but so you dream of that, and the old shamans, they could do shape shifting. They could become the animal, but people have a hard time kind of loosening that far, and that's always not always good. Too, it's better to be able to be in two places at once to have the human self. But at any rate, when you dream of your animal self, then they have not fallen from paradise. They are still in Eden, which is that kind of soul spirit world, and therefore they're connected, and you get a passport to that world. So that's one way. Now, I would also say, so the human genome, so they are genomes, they are both the genome of the wolf and the spirit of the wolf and the soul of the wolf. And they they did not fall, so they are a doorway. The human genome did fall, that was Adam, and Adam's motto, Adam in us, the motto is eat, drink, and be merry. Eat, drink, and procreate, because that
Yes.
just perpetuates the genome. And that's all that he can really do. And that's constantly trying to entrap us. And so the human spirit did not fall, and that had to wait and incarnate. That was Jesus who incarnated the human spirit. And so after that, then the human spirit became a doorway back to Eden, because only the animals were a doorway until that happened, you know. Then Jesus, like you can through him go there. I like the animal better, but so that's why he's always talking about the kingdom of heaven is like this, that, or the other thing. It's like none of the Christians talk about that. They don't go, oh, the kingdom of heaven's like this or that. Like something invisible. So he could only describe something that was invisible, and he used that Fossick language. If you study his parables, none of them are logical. There's like one or two syllogisms. So he knew how to use a syllogism, but he he was in the Roman Empire at that time. The peasants would have spoke Fossick language, and the intellectuals used the syllogism. And so so he's always speaking of another world like that, the kingdom of heaven. So at any rate, so that is a doorway, and that's so he personified like the magnanimity of the best parts of the human spirit. So um, so that's also a model for us. So while I would say I like the shamanic path, which is through the animal, you don't want to lose your human self, because um, we are humans, and it's not very fulfilling, although there definitely is people in history who have left it behind, who just went so to the fairy world in particular. So there's the whole thing about being kidnapped by the fairies. The fairies are like the Adama, the dust of creation, the primal material, and they like they are so addicted to us because we're like this luscious, we have all these feelings and stuff, and we're so
Yeah.
mixed up, and we're like irrational, and they're like, whoa, like what we could do with that, and we're
Yeah.
like, oh, the fairies, like, wow, they're so neat, and they're magical. And magic, I want to know magic, and not be limited
Yeah.
by the human world. So there's this like attraction, but there's the legend of, dancing forever in the halls of the fairies, and that's not built for everybody to do. But and any interaction with the fairies, and I've had this, is dangerous because you could get stuck there. So you always have to, like, I remember, so I always felt like I had alien genes, and in my 40s they said they I had this message like talk to the Queen of the Fairies, talk to the Queen of the Fairies, and every night before bed I'd say that. And after 2 weeks, and I had this dream, and there were the fairies. They just appeared as hairs crossing. I called hair of the fairies, like rays of light crossing. When two of them hit, boom, then something happened. The I-Rama became something. But the tumblers clicked, as a friend of mine said. But so they said, "Do you know how you always felt like you were an alien?" And I said, or had, yeah, I said, "That's that's because you have genes from us." I was like, "Oh, okay, well, that's nice to figure out." And then they said, and because you've come to visit us, we'd like to give you a gift. Oh, how to become invisible. And they said, you know how you tune into us through your feet? Um, because we were in the earth. That's just
Yeah.
one place they are, but you could tune into us and we're not visible, so you could become invisible. It's like, wait a second. Like, why would I need this? And I don't want, this is one of these occult gifts, these magical gifts that they're giving always because they want your soul, they want you
What do they
because
want in exchange?
yes, yes. Yeah, that's an important point. Until recently, from what my dreams have told me, until COVID, until about 2023, and a friend of mine had this dream too. They always wanted a exchange. Um, it's they don't have money, so but in about 2023, God or the guardians of the planet or somebody or angels said no, from now on you guys got to help humans for free because they're so bad off, and you live in the earth too. You don't want the earth to be destroyed. Oh, okay. So you guys got to help them. So, I mean, it's still, I don't know that they helped me. I mean, they showed me a chest of drawers with different fairy herbs and remedies and stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know that I consciously can go there, but at any rate, they're more helpful and not asking for something in return. So, so that's interesting. I mean, that's what I believe from the dreams. I couldn't prove it or anything, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, shapeshifter is where I grew up, Matthew. I grew up with the Cueros, and
Mm.
that's what we do. We shapeshift. And, the Shore Indians in the Amazon, the shapeshifters, yeah.
Okay.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm.
Yeah, it's rarer nowadays. And um, there also are the people that appear in two places at once. I've known two different people who knew medicine that
Mary,
do that.
my
Yeah.
girlfriend Mary does
Oh,
that. She
oh,
appears in places, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm,
And then the the Ojibwe in northern Minnesota, they don't like the shapeshifters as much. They
mm.
like, but that's kind of human fearsome. But the the shapeshifter, you can become controlled by your animal self.
Yeah.
Um, so all this stuff has its like dangers and stuff, to get to
Oh,
the
sure.
spiritual realm. So yeah, so most of this, so it's not like I go to the spiritual realm all the time. It's more like I have very clear single experiences of it, and therefore I can write about it. And I'm not like given the chance to just roam around up there or something.
Yeah. What do you think, Matthew, is the new that you can lead people with to appreciate the earth, how much it needs to be done? Because I know Jane Goodall, my dear friend that just passed away, we were
Yeah,
doing some events, trees, and I'm a huge tree person and I plant tons of trees.
yeah,
How can people collaborate? What is the best way for them to now adapt more to the earth? Because people have gotten so much out of the earth, buying things that they're already
yeah,
made,
Yeah,
The
right.
pharma got the this, the that, and everything has got its place, but I think survival times are coming. And
Yeah.
I hear that all the time.
Corey, you were thinking that you're
No,
asking.
I just brought back an experience I had to download last night while I was asleep.
Yeah. Oh,
Just
cool.
reminded
Yeah.
me of it. And
Yeah.
Mother Earth was saying that, now this might not make sense at all. So you give me
Yeah.
your interpretation, both of you, of
Yeah.
what she said.
No,
Yeah.
She said that she laughed and said that she doesn't need help. She's actually all powerful.
Uh,
And like she knows exactly what to do to protect herself. Like, you know, how we're all like, oh, we need to help Mother Earth.
yeah. Yeah.
And she was like laughing and she
Yeah.
said
Right. I'd agree.
that she does like the earthquakes and she does this and she does
yeah,
that and she changes
yeah,
the sun and she does all of her
yeah,
things because she knows
yeah,
Yeah.
what to do to take care of herself. And if that means the end, that means the end.
right.
Yeah. Right.
So
The thing,
it's funny,
right.
Yeah.
egotistical that we think we can
Yes.
change this power.
It's about the people.
And
It's
we are the
about
problem.
people.
Yes.
It's about the people, not the earth. I know she's going to make it, the mycelium, she's
Yeah.
got it going on. It's about what people need to do if they want the next generations to actually,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
don't know
Okay.
anything about herbalism. They don't know anything about homeopathic. They don't know. Now it's like Dr. Google, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Right. Well, yeah. Yeah. I've had the same message a long time ago. Oh, I was treating somebody who was kidnapped by aliens, little grays, and I got kind of obsessed about them, and I had this vision, like boom, my consciousness is projected up. Oh, through the top of your head is where the soul meets this soul star meets the spirit. So the spirit is constantly talking and learning, and that soul star gets bigger and bigger, and um. And boom, out through the top of my head through this hole in the clouds, and the angels were singing, "Holy, holy, holy is the Lord God Almighty." And I was like, wow, this sure is Old Testament. And then there was God on his throne. Could see up to his knees. He was about 3 stories high. And he said, "I have made a covenant with the earth that I will not allow the earth to be destroyed." I was like, yeah, great. And then I said, so she is all powerful. Yeah, she's been given that power. And then I said, "Oh, great. Yeah." And then he said, "And I'm not relying upon the human race to help." And I was like, "Oh, yes, of course. We're the problem." And then he said, "They're a weak reed to lean on." And I was like, "Well, this is totally Old Testament." And then boom, he was gone, you know. So
Hmm.
that I totally do agree. But also there's these beings called the guardians of the planet. There's 7 of them. They're like the 7 gods, yeah, and they're like
Yeah.
seven. But they don't like to be worshipped, so they don't want to be identified with the 7 planets and all that. But the guardians of the planet, and the guardians of the life wave of evolution, etc. So they are working with Mother Nature, and they could just click a dial and boom, everything would be different for us. So they're consciously working. So God, the guardians, and Mother Earth are all working now, and even the fairies, I guess, are all working through this time. And I think they want the human race to survive, but we're not the pinnacle of evolution. We're kind of a, like, I mean, we're kind of fallen, like in the Christian, genetically, our genome is, so we don't see, we're isolated from the spiritual world. But this is this great time of transformation, and we're hoping that I mean, everybody feels it. I mean, the 3 of us, I'm sure, and most of our listeners have felt since they were a kid, this is the times we're going through it. We don't know exactly how that's going to work, and but it's going on. And I would say, like, I'll give it some timeline stuff. So 1989, I woke up on New Year's morning, and I was happy, and I was really, really, really happy. I was like, "What? Where is this coming from? I'm not this happy," because I identified it as not me. Then, boom, this huge, like, angel or something, 2 stories high, came into the room, and it said, "This is a happy year because during this year, the people who are spiritual will be taken out from under the power of the people who are not. The change will occur 3/4 of the way through the year." Which I interpreted as September 1st, but actually it'd be October 1st. But anyway, boom. Okay, wow. So up till that point, every day, all the time, I always felt like if they only knew I was thinking, they'd burn me at the stake. If they only knew, well, that year that disappeared and it never came back. And so I did feel like the people who are not spiritual were like the thought police on the inner plane, and we were taken out from under their power. And I did talk to somebody else who was like an empath, and she had that same experience about that time too. I on In that week after New Year's, I talked to probably 15 people, and they all felt happy on that day, inexplicably.
Okay.
So, so that was the beginning of a change. And then, but things happened slowly. So then, like Newt Gingrich, about 1995, politics became very bitter and like hatred oriented. And like that's just gotten worse and worse with Trump, and just so much hatred and alienation and separation and polarization. It's just gotten worse and worse. But that's all part of like, see, when they lost control of the thought police, when they were knocked off that level, then they got worse on this level. Like they're like trying harder to get us all under their thumb because they lost control, but they're losing control. It'll just get worse and worse for them. It'll get more and more. And I mean, you really even see like Trump and Putin, they're fighting battles going upstream. They're like, there's so much opposition to them. Um, and it's it's not in the end they're going to be defeated. And I mean, they could cause a lot of damage and a lot of worry and anxiety and depression, but yeah, so the timeline, like 2012, the Mayan calendar changes over, it doesn't end. So 2013, July. So my friend Susan and I could tell stories about her. You had to interview me just about Susan. But so we would do pipe ceremonies together, and she and the spirits would talk to us. And July 2013, they said, um, new path and new path under the feet. Don't turn to the left, don't turn to the right. Just go straight ahead, just follow the path. It was like, and on and on. And they kept saying that. And it was like, and Susan was always the interpreter. She could hear him and see him better than me. And she said, "What are you getting?" And I'm saying, "New path under the feet. New, no, don't turn to the left, don't turn to the right." She said, "Yeah, I'm getting exactly that." And she said, "Well, we've been doing this how long? 30 years, and we've never felt anything like that." And like she was more impressed by that. I didn't really think of it so much as like, okay, new path under the feet. But yeah, so new path, don't turn to the left, don't turn to the right. And that's really what we're in right now. You can't, you just got to go straight ahead with the spiritual, follow the spirit, because the human is totally alienated. And yeah, I would tend to blame the right more than the left, but you just can't get into either side too much or you'll get swallowed up and you'll get alienated. And so that started, and then, oh, 2016. Oh yeah, I had this October 3rd or 5th, right around there. So it'll be 9 years ago. I had this other dream that uh, well, for about 2 weeks, this energy had been fighting against me, like scratching. Like I was like, "What's that? Is that like the society or Trump?" I think he was. Oh, he wasn't quite president yet. What's going on? Or just and and I was living in this house with other people, and one of them there was cursing me, and I closed the door to my room, and boom, and it stopped, and I looked out the window and I saw stars falling out of the sky, and I knew that that meant the world was ending. And then boom, my consciousness was shot up, my golden cord up to my soul star. There it was, kind of bobbing there with about 8 or 9 people. They were my soul group. It wasn't very many of them. My soul group, and we were all like kind of like new age light workers. We were all working for good stuff, but we were sometimes working against each other because we weren't coordinated. And then it was like someone turned a dial, click, and then boom, we were all coordinated together, and it was all and that felt good. And I looked down, it was just a sea of chaos down there. And I wondered about Trump, and he was just a big wave and of chaos. And so, and then a friend of mine interpreted said, "Oh, this star is falling out of the heavens. Yeah, that's the soul stars of people who didn't develop them. they didn't try to have a spiritual life and they got cut out of heaven. It's like, whoa, well, that's believable partly because then immediately I went to my soul star. So the two contrasts. So that was 2016. Um, I'll share just because normally I don't mention this, but the second I heard the name coronavirus, I thought, oh, thank God that the apocalypse has begun. But um, I don't, it was a pretty weird reaction. Now I would say like, golly, it was a lot of fun before the apocalypse began. I don't know that I'm into this so much, but it's not so fun. But at any rate, yeah. So that's kind of the timeline I think we're on is,
Right.
and that's a slow timeline. That's like 1990.
From your perspective, what do you think
Yeah.
the vision is for the bigger picture? Like if you
The
were in your owl animal, if you were like in
yeah.
that perspective or the hawk kind of being able to see what it's all for, what do you think it's all for? Why do you think we have that to just keep moving forward? Don't go,
Yes.
don't go right. What's the
Yeah.
purpose?
Well, it's to refine humanity to a higher new level evolutionary step. And people are going to be exiled from the planet. They're not going to be allowed to incarnate here unless they have that a higher spiritual attunement. I don't know how high. I don't know what's going to be required, but they're going to be a lot more harmonious. And maybe they're going to have to be in touch with their soul star because all those people that were cut out, and I don't think this is the first time that that happened because I think that's in the Bible and elsewhere. The stars falling out of the sky represent the change of the age. And so it may have happened before, but it's happening now. So those people, they don't have a spiritual anchor and they're on the right and the left and they don't act like they have a spiritual anchor. And you got to have a spiritual anchor to go ahead and to follow your star, you know.
Like a weeding
Oops.
out process?
I didn't hear all that. What?
Do you feel like it's like a weeding out process? Like
Yeah, I mean
natural elimination?
that's the separation. Yeah. That yeah, it's a weeding out. I mean, they're just into all this, stuff that doesn't, I mean, whether it's hatred or just sort of doing it their own way and not paying attention or not being attuned to the living earth and the spirit world, Mother Earth and God, they don't need to be tuned into the guardians of the planet. They don't appear very often and they don't want to be tuned into.
Mm.
One time there's one tree that attunes to them. And and so I went to their room where they were, and they all left because they didn't want to be in the presence of a human. So, because they've just had enough of us like worshiping them and everything. And, um, but yeah, I had a couple of dreams about them too. So I have them, the guardians of the planet with a capital T. And in any book that ever mentions them, I always see they always have the capital T, and I always know that person talked to them. Oops. I'm gonna get that just because we yeah. Hang on.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Mom.
So, was reading about goldenrod. I was listening to him to explain that, and that stops miscarriages.
That was.
Goldenrod, the herb,
Yeah,
does.
yeah.
Oh, cut off?
That's fascinating.
He's got a whole YouTube
Okay.
about goldenrod
Yeah.
and stopping miscarriages and a bunch of other things that the goldenrod
Yeah.
does. Support the lower back, the kidney, the respiratory, right? Is your mama? No.
Your mama okay?
So she's 95 and we take turns taking care of her, we're still at home here.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I was telling Corey about goldenrod because her daughter had been struggling with keeping her baby.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. Thanks. Okay. I gotta talk here. Yeah, so goldenrod, so it's an interesting thing. This is in my new book that will be out next year sometime, an immune herbal. And we have two immune systems, innate, adaptive. A lot of people know about that. We actually have four because the cell has its own immune system called antioxidants and molecular chaperones. So the cell has its own, the cell, single cell by itself, or the multicellular organism. Then we have innate immune system developed in the lower life form, so to speak. Then we have the adaptive immune system developed in, amphibians, and then we have the thermoregulatory system, which is in the warm-blooded animals, where we control things by temperature. And the bats threw most of the other stuff away, and they just use the temperature one. So they have to hang upside down and stay out of the sun and all that. But so we have the immune system, and let's see, what was the question I was just giving? Oh, yes, and there's one constitutional type that is innate immune system dominant, which would include the other systems, or else there's adaptive immune system dominant, and mostly the healthy way is to be innate immune system. The normal way is to be innate immune system dominant. But when you get pregnant, like the innate immune system just ruthlessly kills all tumors, and that would include the fetus. So you have to switch to the adaptive, and you have to and that allows for the development of the fetus, and that you also have more immunity to parasites, which is interesting too. You can kill them more. So there's some switches, and you have that T and B cell dominant and natural killer cell. The natural killer cells are still out there controlling cancer, but we're not as strong on cancer control now for a while. Fortunately, most women that get pregnant are pretty young. So, and their systems are not too corrupted by cancer. So there's that, and women who can't switch into that, maintain that type 2, that second adaptive immune system dominance, have trouble holding the fetus for the whole way. And one of my students or friends, Lisa Wolf, she found the remedy for that. She used goldenrod for that. And goldenrod just has a whole lot of stuff that fits when you make a poor transition from the innate to the adaptive. Like you get allergies. The adaptive has its own set of allergies. The innate is actually more dangerous. It has like the bee sting type, puffing up and you can't breathe, and you anaphylactic shock and you die. Yeah, okay, that's a bit much. The adaptive is more like food allergies and respiratory allergies, all of which goldenrod is very good for. So yeah, and goldenrod is, guess what? Well, it told me it was a turtle medicine. I mean, it wasn't as clear as that dream or that vision, but it said, "Oh yeah, I develop all summer long, real slowly, slowly, and finally, I have my um, flowers in August and even September." And that's true of a couple plants, but it just kind of made that slow march all. So it's a turtle medicine too. It's strengthening kind of the foundation. And so elder turtle, or ancient turtle, or grandfather turtle is in my vision, but one of my Indian friends said, no, it's not a grandfather or grandmother. Yeah, but that's the way it's said in my vision. So that's the earth, that's the I-Rama, the material out of which, and then Star Woman came down, and the birds were flying all around her, and they, boom, and she stepped on the earth, and that spread all the archetypes, or like the molds, all the impressions of the different things, because the stars are the archetypes, or the astrology, even in American Indian. And so we have Star Woman too, and ancient Egypt, that's Neith, and there's a picture of her body embracing all the stars spread above, and her husband's just this little guy here. They didn't have the turtle, they didn't know about that, but they have the whole, she's her body spreading all across the, yeah. I know, it's like crazy. That,
The whole like he's just
yes, right, right.
got it right there, right? So
Yeah,
would something like goldenrod be good for the immune system, like with rheumatoid arthritis?
No, so many things, more of the
yeah,
respiratory and stuff, no?
yeah. Well, I've used it more respiratory, digestive. It's even for a little gas putrefaction down here. I have not used it for the um joints, etc., but it may well be a joint remedy. Um, yeah, I would say it takes a couple hundred years to get to know a good herb. So we've learned a lot about, well, okay, on that, I would say rheumatism would fit. It's for congealed blood. So back pain, lower back pain, stiffness, blood slowing down, that's definitely under goldenrod. It's like arnica in that sense, but it's not quite as arnica you can't consume internally. Goldenrod you can, but so it's a little safer. It's also a little bit more tuned to the back, that so lower back pain, etc. Um, yeah.
You
Um,
have given it to somebody and right away, the lower back pain went away right there.
yeah. Um, there are a couple things that can help the lower back, and that's a major one. Yeah. Another one would be Osmunda fern. Well, that might have been the one I gave. That's really for the lower back. Lower back pain, feel the world does not support me. I'm not supported,
Yeah.
often economically, whatever.
Yeah.
Just people, my vision is not supported. Well, so we need to overcome that, and goldenrod would be very good. The staff, the goldenrod, and then also um, Osmunda fern, which is you'd have to pick it yourself. And upstate New York would be a good place. But yeah, and the goldenrod has the essence is like that Three of Wands card where the guy's bowed down under the wands, and in the distance is the town, is the church steeple.
Yeah.
That's where he's trying to get there, but he's bowed down. So yeah, you can't see the goal, and you need to get there. So that's like it is with the pregnancy too. I'm bowed down with my pregnancy, and I can't get there.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's other remedies for pregnancy problems, and I don't know them all, but I know a lot. I used to treat this more often because there weren't many herbalists, and now there's many female herbalists, and they often do the obstetric gynecological work.
Yeah, yeah, I just love all your work. You have done sessions with me where it was uh, situations that they've been there for years, and in a matter of a week, like people not sleep, because it's so common now that
Yeah,
people are in such anxiety mode, and not sleep is huge. Inflammation is huge.
yeah, yes. Yeah, and we're getting more of these big dreams, I think, too. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I had one 3, 4 days ago. It was just about how bad Trump and the whole thing was. And I mean, not just him, but it was a blue vervain dream. Blue vervain is when the ego tries to control things.
Yeah.
Like, how would you say? Hyperextension is one of the physical injuries, and so it's kind of like a hyperextension of the ego.
Yeah.
Mm, wow. Yeah.
So when people have a dream like that, see, that helps clear that out of the psychic atmosphere, and a bunch of people have that dream. You had the other dream about the good side, the earth, and that's because we're all dreaming all together, partly because of that soul stars in combination now.
Mm.
And we're all dreaming us into the future all together. And even though our dreams were different there, I think they were related. I was dreaming the bad stuff, you were dreaming the good stuff.
The male and female energy of that, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
right.
And I went into all the way to the center of the earth, where the
Oh,
grandmothers are
yeah.
keeping the fight of her.
Mm,
Yeah,
yeah.
brought up some messages, and
Oh,
you were one of them.
oh, what did
Connected
they
me, no,
say?
because I woke up and I'm like, oh, wow, boom, and you came in. Like, okay, he's got a key there. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's so profound.
it was so
What
wonderful.
would you say to people to recommend on your books? What would you say to them? Because we're going to put all the links to the books and to your
Okay.
institute and such.
Okay. Yeah. Corey had one last question, and then we'll talk about that. Yeah.
No,
Okay.
I think it was, I was just going to say it was so wonderful to talk to you. It wasn't a question.
Oh,
I was
okay.
just going to say I've learned so much already, and we could
Yeah.
just go on and on and on, couldn't we,
Yes, we
as well,
could.
because there's so
Yeah.
much information. We'd
Yeah.
love to have you back on and just
Yeah.
pull
Yeah.
your wisdom
Good.
and other topics. That's all I was going to say. But
Oh, okay. Good. So you were both kind of bringing it to a conclusion in your own
yeah, I
ways.
think so.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we're thinking we don't want to spend you too much. I can stay all day
Yeah.
because I love storytelling.
Oh,
I
yeah.
grew up like that.
Yeah.
It's my juice, you know.
Yeah. Right.
Mm, mm.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah. Well, it's,
could I ask one more question that might be
yeah.
really helpful for
Yeah.
everybody? Because you've
Yeah.
mentioned this a lot, and I think people might be out there wondering how to do this. How do people find their power animal, the animal?
Yeah, well, let's see. I found Rudolf Steiner explained it all. He said, as you go along on the path, like animal, instead of thinking of horses, you start thinking of horse. So you're seeing those archetypes more. So it's both the intuition and it's dream time and animal instincts, following your instincts because that's from the animal self. So all those things, when this happened to me, it was so graphic. I thought, golly, I must be one of the only ones. But I feel like a lot of people. And there's one cold-blooded animal and one warm-blooded animal. Most people dream of it's better to dream of the warm-blooded animal. It's okay. My friend Susan, she was like cold-blooded. She was knife blade of truth. But you're dreaming, when you dream of a warm-blooded animal, you get emotions in your lucid dreaming, whereas the cold-blooded animal, you don't get emotions.
Oh,
Eventually that changed for her because she dreamed of the horse but she was an alligator originally, and she was like an alligator. Well, but I might have to kill you. I told her, the motto of the alligator is, I might have to kill you. And she said, oh, I never killed anybody. I just shot him in the legs. I'm like, well, Susan, okay. Well, so yeah, my website is Matthew Wood Institute of Herbalism.com. And we do have lots of free classes. We also have a monthly A to Z, which is just herbal materia medica, just general thoughts from several of us. It's Phyllis Light and Judy Liebland from New Mexico. And then Real Spirit Journey, which is that's a lot of fun. That's where either I've talked about my origins with Francis Holt. We only done three of them. So I talked about myself, and then I had an interview with Eugene Sway, who's a architect in the Bay Area of California, and he's a phenomenal different architect. And it's just really it's mind-blowing even to me, his way of thinking about things. And so that was just a week or two ago, a great and RSJ is free, Real Spirit Journey. But you'd find it through there. We're gonna try and just put that out on YouTube. But and then um my latest book, my all-time favorite is a shamanic herbal. Yeah.
okay.
And that explains a lot of these ideas and experiences and talks about Susan a lot. She's dead now and passed on. And my next book is going to be an immune herbal. And then I got about 11 books published, mostly on herbalism. And um, yeah, I, I'll just, writing is my main thing. If I could just retire, at the Institute takes a lot of work. I gotta teach classes and stuff, but we almost got our third year. We're halfway through the third year, and when we have the third year done, I'll be able to rest some. And I just want to sit and write, actually.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah, and I illustrate some of my books. I can do that too. So,
Okay.
well, so let's see. So, yeah, my publishers are North Atlantic Press and Inner Traditions in Vermont. So,
You'll put all of that below so everybody can get in touch with you and buy
yeah,
the books.
yeah,
Okay.
good.
Yeah, so great for Matthews. I'm
Yeah,
gonna see you at the end of the year. Santa Fe, come
yep,
on.
yep. I got a couple great courses I'm going to have in Santa Fe, maybe one or two in California. So I'll spend some time in California.
Yeah,
But
her daughter can come and stay with me because she wants to go on in herbology, and I say you
okay.
got to get it from him.
Well, Judy, who's a student of mine, she's there too. So there's one herb store now, only one in Santa Fe. That's Tomas's.
Milagros?
Milagros, yeah. So
Mm,
advertise them.
mm,
Judy works through them. And I'll be teaching at the Intervision Institute, I think it's called, actually in Espanola, which is
yeah.
up the road. Yeah. So yeah, where Espanola, she lives in the country in Espanola. The governor of New Mexico called out the National Guard to take care of things in Espanola. I don't know. I think that she did that just to stop Trump from doing it.
Wow.
But Espanola has its fun. Yeah.
Yeah. That's where Yogi Bayan put his
Yeah, there's a great big group of
six.
Sikhs. Yeah. Yeah, and the Spanish people there, a lot of them you can tell are part Jewish. They're descended from the Moranos who ran away. Yeah, so my mom's part Sephardic Jewish, so I feel at home there. So,
So am I.
oh yeah, oh you are? Yeah, I could pick up on it. I didn't want to say anything, but
What,
okay.
there's some Jew in there?
Yeah.
I'm good at negotiating.
Yeah, she's
Mm.
so good at negotiating. I've got
I
to.
love you, Matthew, so much, and I'm so grateful.
Thank
It's
you.
just
Good. We'll
what
see
an
ya.
honor.
Yeah, we
Yes.
could talk to you for days and days and days.
Yep. Yep.
Love you.
All right.
Mwah.
Thank you.
Mwah.
Hmm.
Bye.
Yep. Bye.